when the war started. They protected me.
They're not people, Maya. It's just programming.
Gareth Edwards, I Think I Love You. Us YouTubers have to watch a lot of crap in our daily life, which isn't always a bad thing. Crap movies and TV shows can make for good content. It's where the laughs come from. But sometimes the soul needs to go see something good. Something that's not part of a franchise, or a sequel, or anything to do with superheroes. Something that's not part one of a 3-part story. A film that is just a standalone story, a couple of hours in and out, and not a 3-year commitment. Well, I went and saw The Creator, and one of the few times in my life I could have had the film be longer. Some of the story threads could have easily been more fleshed out. Not that they needed to be, I just would have enjoyed it. And I may get my wish if they ever do a director's cut. Apparently the first cut of this film was 5.5 hours long. I've seen Gareth Edwards asked about sequels to The Creator and he doesn't sound interested at all.
Producers might ask you like, is it, sequel stuff, and you go, no, we're not doing a sequel.
Fucking hooray. Sequels and franchises have killed Hollywood. For every good one, there's 50 shockers. I just don't understand people wanting sequels all the time. I'd rather see what else is going on in those little creative brains. I'll take Kill Bill and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood over Reservoir Dogs 2 and Pulp Fiction the early years any day of the week.
Get out of here. These two enormous surf and turf just hanging out in the Disney daylight. Damn!
I wish James Cameron would stop making the bloody Avatar sequels. Those blue bastards have stalled his creative output. Now the YouTube algorithm gods love it when I mention Star Wars. So luckily the last film that Gareth Edwards made was Rogue One, a Star Wars story, 7 bloody years ago. Now even though Rogue One is easily the best Star Wars content that Disney has made, I've always wanted to see the finished Gareth Edwards version. You see, sadly Gareth had Rogue One taken out of his control by Kathleen Kennedy, who had Tony Gilroy come in and change the tone of the movie.
Hope.
You noticed even the original trailers don't line up with the finished film. Well, if the creator is anything to go by, he would have delivered a better film than we got. Because The Creator is a really solid film. Part Blade Runner, part AI, part Platoon, and part Dances with Wolves. And not like other films that just try and rip off the classics, Gareth takes his favourite influences and expands them into his own ideas and vision.
Are you going to heaven?
No. You gotta be a good person to go to heaven.
Now the story in The Creator is pretty straightforward and the basic premise we've seen before, but you can nearly say that about every film. It's not so much the pieces you bring to a film, it's how you assemble those pieces into a story, and The Creator assembles those pieces very nicely. Gareth Edwards, who also handles camera duties, is foremost a visual storyteller, and The Creator is visually stunning. Which brings us to the budget. Other directors are going to bloody hate Gareth Edwards for bringing in a film that looks this good for $80 million. And I'm not saying it just looks good for the budget, it's one of the better looking films I've seen in a long time. If ever there was a case against blown out budgets ruining creativity in Hollywood, it's this film. 80 million. $80 million still sounds a lot, but let's put that into perspective. The Little Mermaid remake cost a whopping $265.5 million, and I've seen red wine vomit that looked better.
And I'm not a person.
But quickly, let me tell you about today's sponsor, who can easily fix a serious problem. Did you know that every day all your personal information is being collected by data brokers and then sold to people who want to bombard you with annoying spam calls and emails? Right at this moment, your name, address, and all your online activity is being shared by multiple companies that you've never even heard of. And trying to stop this invasion of privacy is nearly impossible on your own. Well, don't worry, thanks to the wonderful people at Incogni, you can put a stop to these data brokers sharing your information. Incogni will reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your personal information be removed from their databases. They will also take care of any objections from these data brokers. And it's not just spam callers you have to worry about. The information these data brokers collect about people like yourself has been used to steal identities, up insurance premiums, as well as help stalkers find people. It's actually eye-opening how much information they know about you. But don't worry, Incogni's made it incredibly easy to protect yourself. All you have to do is create an account, tell them whose personal data they'll be removing, give them permission to work for you, and that's it. You just sit back and relax while Incogni gets to work, making sure all those data brokers remove all your personal information. And thanks to Incogni, the first 100 people to use the code ROBOTHEAD at the link below will get 60% off their Incogni subscription. So protect yourself and help support the channel by signing up today. Avoid scams, identity theft, and harassment with Incogni.
The artificial intelligence created to protect us
detonated a nuclear warhead in Los Angeles.
I took myself off to the cinemas to see Gareth's first film, Monsters, because I'd heard he'd made that film for $500,000, and that also looked bloody good. Unlike most of Hollywood, the guy really knows how to use money wisely. The creator also repeats one of my favourite things about Rogue One, the daytime action. So much of modern action is hidden in the dark, where the attack on Scarif has the best looking action scenes we've seen since Disney took over Star Wars. It embarrasses the action sequences from the sequels. Well, he repeats that daylight action in The Creator, which is not easy when half your cast are robots, but the world he's created really has weight to it. It feels very real. Apparently Gareth Edwards, who also wrote The Creator, always liked how George Lucas combined the ancient with the future, with nothing in between. Desert farm boy hops on a spaceship and goes to a space station. The approach of having ancient and future combined with nothing in between to create a foreign world is also why the introduction of things like the space mods in Star Wars doesn't work. It's neither ancient or future, it's just in between garbage, which feels too current to feel otherworldly. Gareth chose to set a lot of this film in Asia. Well, in the film it's called New Asia, as Asia in the real world living in an existence of high-tech cities next to traditional farming. So it was a great choice for this film. The combination of future tech living with the villagers works really well. The film also does what good sci-fi should do, and that's make us question how we feel about the changes that are going to come with advanced technology. AI, cloning, and who has rights over us is all explored in this film. And without giving anything away, one scene set on the side of a dirt road where information is getting extracted from a dead soldier is nicely unsettling. Sci-fi should give you an uneasy feeling about the future. If you told me 20 years ago that we would be all carrying devices that tracked our every move and listened to all our conversations, I would have bloody freaked out. That's what good science fiction should do. Make you feel uneasy about the future tech.
This conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
The star John David Washington, well, I think it's the star, he's a little sidekick that tries to take over. John David Washington is again excellent.
You and I are real.
This isn't real.
Man, he has a great mix of sensitivity and strength. You believe he is a loving partner just as much as you believe he can kick ass. He definitely has that movie star charisma, which I needed when watching Tenet. He's the only thing that got me through all the confusion. The child actor Madeleine Univules, I bet I massacred that name, is phenomenal. You're a hard bastard if she doesn't get to you. But the biggest surprise is Alison Janney as the antagonist, Hal. I think I've always seen her as a comedic actress. I think I was very wrong. She plays a great character in this film, and the story actually gives us a reason for her aggressive nature. Characters with some depth. That's a refreshing thing these days. So The Creator, well, it might not bring as many laughs to a review as something like Ahsoka will, but you should definitely go watch it and go see it in the cinema. Support non-franchise films and filmmakers so we may get some more original films, and I might avoid having that full mental breakdown